Sawyer.
What's going on, everybody? The world's a better place because you are here to join us. My name is Matt Brown, and I am the host of the Productive Conversations podcast. And it is a Tuesday, the 9th of December, 2025. We're in the last 3 weeks of the year, everybody. So let's go off on a high note. Let's have an amazing, productive conversation. Let's talk about what was going on over the weekend and let you know about everything else that makes you the best self. And before we do that, before we get to Hollywood making big changes, Fernando Mendoza is a sweetheart. What else do I have on my show sheet? Travis and Taylor's letting us know where they get married. Dating expectations are announced. Everything going on in the world will be discussed right now. And before we do all of that, I just want to remind you to like and subscribe to the Productive Conversations podcast on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. And don't forget to check out exclusive content regarding the show across all social media platforms. We're on Instagram at Productive Conversations Podcast, X at Pod, TikTok at Pod, and Facebook at Productive Conversations. Don't forget to check out that YouTube page at Productive Conversations as well. And as
For
always, don't
sure.
you forget to check out our presenting sponsor in Magic Mind, the world's first productivity shop where you could do more and stress less. And if you're like me, who has so much going on in this world, from running a podcast, going to work, editing, dancing, rapping, working out, watching sports, watching movies, having a social life, trying to find my person, all of those going down my world, and I can only do so much with caffeine. But I have a better solution. That is the green tea shot in Magic Mind. You take before the day begins. This green tea shot with ingredients such as nootropics, matcha, adaptogens, and before you know it, you have a more focused brain, a less foggy mind, and you are ready to take out whatever is going on in your world. Anything's possible, and you can accomplish so much by taking Magic Mind. So go to magicmind.com/PCJune for 48% off your first subscription or 20% off your first one-time purchase. That is magicmind.com/PCJune for 48% off your first subscription or 20% off your first one-time purchase. You only have 22 days to go, 23 days to go, because this deal's done on December 31st. So go and check that out. MagicMind.com/PCJune for 48% off your first subscription or 20% off your first one-time purchase. Magic Mind, reclaim your brain. So I hope everybody had a great weekend. I sure as heck
hmm
did. Um, on the, on the call today to discuss what's going on over the weekend, I got Ryan, Hallison, and Jose. Hello, everybody.
Hello, how's it
Hey.
going, everyone?
Yo,
So excited to see all of you. And we're going to have a great productive conversation and just some programming notes. In the sports world, we have a recap of week 14 of the NFL season. We're on the final 4 weeks to go. Big games took place. We're really seeing where this is going, and it's damn exciting. So I talk about that. Look into a big week next week and all of that jazz. We also we also have available a reaction to the college football conference championships that took place over the weekend and an initial reaction to the college football playoffs final bracket being released. All of that and more, Notre Dame getting snubbed and all of that. Me and Ryan
hmm
has that called. Check that out. Also available on all podcasts and platforms and YouTube. And then we have a tweet cap right now. In the middle of the week, we'll have two Magic Minds, which includes a discussion, a big question, if John Cena really is the greatest wrestler of all time as he's retiring on Saturday night.
Yep.
So you'll want to see that. And then on Friday, we'll have another tweet cap to discuss what's trending over the week ahead. So lots to do, lots to get into. So let's enjoy what's about to take place. So here we go. Ryan, Allison, Jose, you guys ready?
I am ready.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Love to hear. Appreciate you all here. So yeah, let's talk about what's going on over the weekend. It's freezing here in the Northeast. It's the holiday season's here. What do we got? It's December 9th. So we got 2 weeks till Christmas. How about that? 2 full weeks. That's it. So
I
get your
know.
stuff ready. If you're celebrating Hanukkah, that's next week, the 14th. Kwanzaa's in 2 weeks and a day. New Year's Eve, Matt Brown Day, also the 31st. Remember to celebrate and leave
Matt Brown Day.
cookies. Leave cookies
For
on.
Matt. Leave cookies on your dresser for Matt. He's gonna come
Yeah.
around house to house on his birthday.
Exactly. So, but what else took place over the weekend? Obviously, we love our movies. We love talking about movies. The award season is beginning. The Golden Globe nominations are announced, but we got a big bombshell going on in Hollywood right now. And I thought we were going to talk about one thing, but more stuff's added to it, if you know what I'm saying. But let me tell you what's going on. It was announced earlier in the year that Warner Brothers Discovery, Warner Brothers, a studio that's been around for literally over 100 years, went up for sale. And there was a big bidding war for it. And who won that bidding war? Netflix did. On December 5th, 2025, this past Friday, Netflix announced a definitive agreement to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery for their studios and streaming businesses. I.e., their film. Excuse me. Excuse me. That's my notes there. Let me restart. So on December 5th, Netflix announced that they are going to acquire Warner Brothers. They're going to get their studios. They're going to get their streaming services like HBO, HBO Max, Discovery Plus, Warner Brothers Studio. Not the cable networks, but everything else pretty much, right? And they were going to sell it for about $27 a share. The deal values the equity at about $72 billion. After all the expertise with a total expertise value of $82.7 billion, Netflix will buy Warner Brothers for $82 billion. Just buying that. Pretty crazy, huh? Under this proposal, Warner Brothers would spin off its cable and legacy networks into a separate public company referred to as the Global Networks or Discovery Global. That's your CNNs and TBSs and all of that, Turner. For Netflix, they would acquire the entire Warner Brothers library. HBO and HBO Max would be separate. They'd still be its own streaming service, but Netflix would take that entire library. And yeah, with that, people were definitely concerned, especially regarding theater windows being shortened and how much access will we be able to get and all of that. And not only that, you had the Producers Guild, the Actors Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, the Directors Guild, all the unions.
All the unions, yeah.
Saying this is not okay. We got people reaching out to Congress to stop this deal that would become official in Q2 of 2026. However, this weekend only got more interesting. And you know why? That's because on Monday, December 8th, Paramount Skydance, they launched an unsolicited all-cash tender offer to buy all outstanding Warner Brothers shares, $30 per share. And basically, they decided to do a counteroffer of $108 billion to buy Warner Brothers instead. This money also includes help from Jared Kushner, Middle East, and other means necessary, with also the support of the Trump administration.
Yeah.
So Paramount argues that this offer is superior because it's all cash. It covers everything, including the cable networks. That wasn't a part of the Netflix deal.
The original deal, yeah.
And yeah, they are trying to literally do a real life Succession and take it all themselves. So at this time, the board of Warner Brothers has not changed its recommendation. It says they will review Paramount's offer, but they still support the Netflix offer. And there's also these big regulatory challenges and all this money being involved, and it's going to be a crazy 6 months in Hollywood. Who's going to be the one to actually get Warner Brothers? For my 2 cents, um, I think Netflix will get it.
Hmm.
I honestly think I honestly don't know why this company worth $82 billion needs to get bought out, but you know, people are crazy. People want more money. At the end of the day, it's about greed. Even though they are doing perfectly fine on their own,
Hmm.
they're just trying to get another butt. Especially the CEO David Zaslav, who we've covered on the show before, who does not have
Yeah.
a good public perception. All of that, but just one last thing, right?
Hmm.
The three people involved, right? Let's say Netflix wins the deal. If Netflix wins the deal, it becomes a dominant global studio and streaming juggernaut. They win the streaming wars, and they
Yeah.
have a vault like no other, not only their own, and then you have Warner Brothers movies, every
Hmm.
single HBO show. This would make them an ultimate powerhouse in
Yeah.
entertainment. If Paramount and Skydance wins, we also end up with now a new mega conglomerate, because you get all of what I just said, the studio, HBO, and then you
Hmm.
get all their cable networks as well, CNN, CBS, TNT, all in the same umbrella. Pretty nuts. And then most importantly, who is going to be affected the most? The consumer, the creatives, the theaters, the content diversity, if you will.
Hmm.
It will reshape a lot of things. Sure, I guess you could argue there could be more opportunities, but there could be less as well. They could be gatekeeping those
Oh
who
yeah.
are in the win. But most importantly, shit's gonna go down. Appreciate what you have. If there's anything, remember your physical media is always gonna be yours no matter what. And a lot of information, but it's you're gonna watch movies a little differently starting in 2026
Yeah, I mean, you'll have to.
and TV.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that you think it'll be Netflix. Only because you mentioned at the very end the regulatory issues, but you also mentioned right before that that for reasons surpassing my own understanding, the current administration in charge of our government has a preference in this particular business deal. I don't know why.
Yep.
I mean, I do know why. It's because his son-in-law is one of the investors, but it's certainly strange. But he is weighing in, and his regulatory agencies will have to approve either deal, if we're being completely honest. And so that alone is going to offer the Paramount group a bit of a advantage because the new head of Paramount Skydance is a Trump supporter. He has the support of this administration. Kushner is an investor. It's clear that the people who are going to ultimately approve this have already made their decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it feels like that's almost certainly where they're going to end up going with this. Which I will say, if you're a director, this probably helps you avoid the part that you're most upset about or worried about, which is the death of the traditional theater bit. You know what I mean? I think that Paramount's far less likely to shorten the window that your movie can be in a movie theater than Netflix is. Netflix is almost certainly going to shorten that window because
Mm-hmm.
they're an at-home streamer more than anything else, whereas Warner Brothers has got a bunch of different divisions. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Whoever if Netflix gets it, yeah, that is interesting because that does answer the question of who won the streaming wars. Um, Whereas if it doesn't go to Netflix, I don't believe that means, oh, Paramount is the best streamer. No. But it does mean that, yeah, you now have this global company.
HBO and Netflix in the same place, dude. That is the best. That is as good as it
That's
gets,
streaming. Yeah, that's all of the streaming.
but it's better for those two to be separate, but it's inevitable. Listen, if there's anything too, because there's so much opposition, so much of the higher ups against this,
Hmm.
that maybe they can, with all this legal stuff, if anything, because you're right about the Skydance and Paramount Skydance having the edge simply because the government is on their
Mhm.
side. My only thing would be is you extend this litigation as far as possible so that a new administration could come in as long as
Mhm.
they win. I think
Yeah.
that would just be my legal strategy because we've seen that before. Just do everything you can. I do think there'll be a lot of lawsuits
Yeah.
and monopoly, most importantly, monopoly discussions.
Mhm.
So, um, basically, I'll tell you one thing before we move on. I don't think the plan of the deal being completed in quarter two of 26 is going to happen because of this and just so much opposition, man. And I think that's just ultimately it's going to be
I agree. I think that there's a
because
world where this
there's so
lasts.
much stakes. There's just a
Yeah.
lot at stake here.
Yeah. This could be years before it's like actually determined, right? So it'll be interesting to see.
I love movies and TV so much. Keep it. Make sure it's for people like us. All right. So, the couple that's been discussed the most in the past couple of years is Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Hmm.
We knew they started dating last year, got engaged in August, and it became official. People are buzzing. And when they announce because of their popularity, when people see them, they're able to close city streets and everything from
Hmm.
both fans and paparazzi. Especially what happened in the Jersey
New Jersey,
Shore.
yeah, yeah.
So I would assume, and it would only make sense, that they would like to have a private ceremony. They would
Hmm.
like their closest friends and family to be there so that passionate fans and paparazzi can stay away for two people for what should be the greatest day for two people and two families coming together, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised to find out over the weekend that it was announced that Saturday, June 13th, 2026, will be the day that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce get married at at the Ocean House in Rhode Island.
And watch it, yeah.
In the at a the venue of the Ocean House at Watch Hill, Rhode Island. They told everybody when the wedding's gonna be and
Where?
where it's gonna be.
Guess not what time technically,
Oh
but
yeah,
still,
right time.
yeah.
Between at least 12:01 a.m. to
And
11:59
11:59
p.m.
p.m. Yeah.
I'm very surprised that they allowed that to get to the public.
I
Can
mean,
you too?
I mean,
is it
regardless, I feel like even if they said anything or not, something would have gotten out to the public and they would have known where and when it would have been.
It could have, but you were better off taking your chances, in my opinion, to keep it on the
any
down low,
chance it
get
was
those
fake?
NDA.
I don't think, did they even announce it themselves?
Yeah, the Watch House have acknowledged they will be having this wedding here because they had to debunk that there was a couple that had that date booked, and there was a rumor that that Taylor and
They got
Travis bought
bumped.
them out.
Yeah.
So that's
No.
why
Do
we
we?
know what's
But do we
happening.
think that maybe it's a
Do we think?
purposefully the wrong date, and they did it to specifically avoid like have everyone show up the day after the wedding because actually the day before or whatever? Like, do
I
we
think
think that
it's
this
too
was a strategy?
coincidental. I just think it's too coincidental, especially that the date happens to be the 13th, which is Taylor's favorite number. So,
Right.
um, I don't know. That just seems a little off to me personally, but
I mean,
So
if it's
if
her
you were the
favorite
Watch
number,
House
then
there, would you take on all those people and
think
all
not.
those paparazzi for a fake wedding though? Would you take them out?
No.
Because people are going to show up that day. They're probably
Yeah,
digging
no.
tunnels right now.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's the one part of the theory is that they are involved, like meaning the Watch Hills confirm this because that means people will absolutely show up there. The other thought that I had, honestly, is I wonder if there's still time. It's, a ways away. If they're going to somehow, some way incorporate the fans in the wedding. Um, I mean,
I don't
not
laugh. I agree with you,
inviting.
but that would be
Yeah.
you have to have some fan base that you're able to. You know what? You all could be part of my special day. Not a live stream. You just literally come and join us.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's what I mean. I don't know what that looks like, and I don't want to even speculate. But like, that's my only other thought is that they are going to be anticipating and ready for an overflow crowd of people who are not invited at a separate part of like the property,
Never.
and
Are they gonna have a no-fly zone? Or are they gonna get the
not. I
FAA
don't think
involved
it'll
so
be
you
a
can get there?
no-fly zone, but I do think there's a world where they could have like a viewing party or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's
Have a big screen
Yeah, it's like
outside
I
the.
don't know what
Oh
to tell
my
you, but like
God! Do
that's my
something with your summer people if that's what you're gonna do.
oh I know, could you imagine? But it's
Maybe she
like
wants a Princess Diana moment. Riding
Well,
the
that's
car in
for
the back, driving by.
princesses,
Yeah, fine.
I
royalty.
mean, not for nothing, but I don't like we don't have kings and princesses in the United States, so I'm fine with an American creating a royal wedding out of nothing. But yeah, that's my thought almost is like they want people to know because at some point closer to once they've figured out the logistics, they're going to tell people to come. They're going to say, come celebrate with Travis and Taylor on their
Oh,
special day,
celebrate! Oh my
and this
God!
is what you do, and then people will go. I don't even know if it'll be monetized, but like people will go with well wishes and they'll all wear friendship bracelets or whatever. Like I do think there's a world where that might actually be something they're at least considering, and that's why they've
This
let it
ocean
out.
house, the watch house, I should say.
Well, no, Taylor and
It is a.
Travis
Oh, okay.
and are actually considering this, and that's why they let it go out like where it's going to be, because ultimately they're going to ask people to come anyway.
Come to.
Since they were going to show up regardless, if we're being honest, they're going to just accept that as true, set up a system with which to keep people away from the actual wedding while still feeling like they're celebrating something that they feel deeply parasocially connected to. That's my thought of where this is. It's like this is just step one, and they're actually going to start inviting random fans to, come to this location to celebrate with them. But we'll see.
Ain't that something? If that was the case, well, I'll tell you one thing. You know damn well there's gonna be thousands of weddings already booked on that day around the world that was booked. That's gonna be that's gonna be something to share, huh? It's like,
I
hey, I'm
mean,
going to a wedding that day too. And it's a lot harder now to schedule Saturday weddings because the cost you see is very popular to have Friday weddings, Thursday weddings, Sunday weddings. They actually have a Saturday wedding, which seems to be a luxury now in the wedding
that's
business.
jeez. I know that's super expensive for Saturday. I mean, we had a Saturday, but that was 5 years ago, and that was
Right?
very expensive. And we did it at an inexpensive place on purpose. So it's like I can't imagine what a country club on a Saturday costs.
Yeah, Newport, Rhode Island.
Yeah, Newport especially. Newport, Rhode Island is a degree different than Rochester, New York. But yeah, I mean, obviously happy for them that they have their big date set. I'm sure that was something that was giving them some, you know, aggravation trying to work that out with schedules and whatnot. Having been there, with far less to do than either one of them, I get that. But yeah, this was definitely a head scratcher. If they were looking for privacy, they've done the only thing possible to make sure that never happens. So, but if not, like I said, if they were looking to get the fans involved, then it makes perfect sense.
I guess that's why Taylor hasn't been seen all season long for this. A
Planning the
bad
wedding.
season for the Chiefs. I'll say Travis Kelce is projected to have over 1,000 yards on the final
Yeah.
year of his contract, but the team itself is bad. And when he essentially gave that Texans Alshire the interception, if you saw late on Sunday
Mhm.
night, he handed pretty
Mhm.
much the ball to him. Maybe it's time to go.
It's
Oh,
definitely time to go. It's time to go regardless. They could win the Super Bowl. It's the time to go. But
it looks like there is probably the Chiefs aren't going to make the playoffs. I don't feel
yeah,
bad whatsoever. And I
it's
will say,
it's
what if anything? Oh, shit, you were saying?
I was gonna say it's interesting though. I was looking at the teams that feel like real contenders, and the freaking Patriots are back in this group.
If the Patriots beat the Bills this Sunday, lock them in as the AFC favorite.
100%. I think they're probably already the AFC favorite. But yeah,
I think so.
it's
It's
like
going to go down to them or the Broncos. If the Broncos can play at home, they're going to be hard. So you got to win that home field
Yeah, you
advantage.
do have to win that home field. You're right. But still, it's like, honest to goodness, it's just, it seems that we can't get away from it. The Chiefs dynasty fails just in time for the next Patriots dynasty to be reborn. Can you
I know,
imagine?
right? Young quarterback, young head coach who's a great head coach, and they're set for the decade. They're likable right now. I think so. I never really had.
They're still not the
hatred of
Chiefs.
But you want to know one thing too? I think this establishes there's nothing wrong with being the second greatest quarterback of all time in Patrick Mahomes, because as I mentioned on the show and in private, that with this loss and they will be out of playoff contention, Tom Brady, number one mathematically. Oh, I should start with the exception of him, the one season he was hurt in 2008, got hurt in the very first game of the year against the Chiefs, ironically. That's the only time he didn't make the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes will straight up not make the playoffs. And he mathematically never got out of the playoffs either. And yeah, I think, and he beat him twice, both as a Patriot and a Buccaneer. Again, Patrick Mahomes, nothing wrong. The only thing that would technically surpass him would be 8 Super Bowls, but that's not gonna happen. I'll eat my words there. You could, if that happens, I will be an old man then, much older man at that point. But I think this solidifies Patrick Mahomes' pursuit to be the second greatest quarterback of all time.
I think he's the best quarterback currently playing.
As a whole, yeah. He's having a bad year,
season, but I think he's the most talented active quarterback in football right now. Obviously, this is not his best year. His team, even beside him, is not having the best of years. That happens. But like I would be hard pressed to name a quarterback that I felt was genuinely, consistently better than Patrick Mahomes. So I think that's a really good thing to have too. Obviously you want to be the GOAT.
Where's all the new Chiefs fans going now? Where are they going?
They're going to Watch Hill. In June.
That's a good one. All right. So to keep the tradition, to keep this theme going of marriage, some marriages end in divorce. So I do have a viral clip regarding that. Which was very interesting, I have to say. Essentially, this woman, after her divorce proceedings, explained how that went down. That she explained what happened, what led to the divorce, right? So why don't we play it and tell me what you think, and we'll go from there as we wait for this to load up. Okay, here it is. So I'm confused why this clip was made, but again, people cope with traumatic, sad events differently. But I digress. So here's a woman who is talking about what happened when she told her husband, "I want a divorce," and her reaction to it.
I texted my therapist, our marriage counselor, and I was like, I was going to tell him that I wanted a divorce. I texted my therapist, our marriage counselor, and I was like, I need to tell him that I want a divorce, but I want to do it in a session so that there's like a mediator present. Got us in like ASAP, like 2 days later. And I walked in knowing that I was going to ask for a divorce. We sit down in our session. It's like really tense, really awkward. My ex was sitting there like, so why do we have an emergency session? Therapist was like, Jamie, do you want to start? And I just started crying and I was like, I want a divorce. You know, it's hard for me to like say the words. I'm done. I want a divorce. He sat there quiet. I'm sitting next to him crying. He didn't move. He didn't look at me. He didn't react at all. He just was stone cold. And eventually our therapist was like, would you like to respond? He responded right away. And he's like, fine, let's just go ahead and finalize the details. And that was that. I looked at my therapist and I was just like kind of stunned. I knew that I was ready to leave, but I couldn't believe that that was his reaction. There was no empathy. There was no compassion. There was no like wanting to fight for us. I didn't think that there would be, but you know, you just always hope that like one last try. We went home that night. We didn't speak. He slept on the couch. I woke up and went to work the next day, came home. He was playing PlayStation that night. I sat next to him. We hadn't talked in 24 hours. I said, can we talk about what happened yesterday? And he was just playing, just looking straight ahead. And he was like, what's to talk about? In my mind, I'm thinking, this is our last ditch effort to like steer this ship around, you know? And I was like, so what are we gonna do? And he just kept playing. And he was like, I already got an apartment. I already took my name off of the lease. He had done things within that 24 hours. He had opened up the filing folder of his single man life and went ahead and got all this shit done.
So I'm confused. Was she upset that he didn't fight back? I mean, don't you think that is the most mature way to handle something like that?
I don't know about mature or not mature. I wouldn't necessarily use mature as
Well, what do you want him to fight back, scream, be
Right.
emotional? He's just like, okay, let's do it, and I'll
I
get
can't
out of
wait for
here.
Ryan to answer this one.
Yeah, so like I said, I just don't know that I would attribute either of those reactions, be it screaming or not screaming and just completely zoning out as a maturity thing. But well, my thing is, she called this session, right? And she made this declaration. I want a divorce, right? And yes, there are people who would, and I don't think it's a problem to be like, why? Like, where is this coming from? Like, what is going on? Now, obviously, they have a marriage counselor, so some of that might be, some of this may have just been like he knew what was going to happen because they had a marriage counselor, it wasn't really helping, etc. Right? But yes, I think it'd be totally normal for him to have reacted in a way that was more, frankly, interested in what was going on. However, I don't think that the way he reacted was bad. I also don't think the way he reacted was indicative that he didn't care. To me, like listening to, and this is, by the way, listening to her description, which I would have to assume is at least somewhat biased, right? Listening to her description of what happened, he sounded like he was completely devastated. I mean, he did those things not because he was like happy to move out, but because he couldn't stand the idea of dragging out their old life when she wanted to end it. I mean, the fact that he sat there and said nothing and had to be provoked to speak. And I know she's like, he said right away, no empathy. I'm like, no, your story said the opposite. Your story said he sat there and said nothing until somebody finally asked him if he would like to respond. And it was in that moment, when pressed, that he responded by saying, okay, let's finalize the details. To me, that's somebody who felt deflated, who felt defeated, um, who wanted it to be done. Who I don't
Heck,
know.
maybe he was okay with it. Maybe
Oh,
he was.
No,
Ryan.
I don't believe he was okay with it. I did not hear
Don't think so.
from the way that she described it. No, I didn't sound like he was okay with it. It sounded like he had accepted it as something that he couldn't change, he couldn't control. This was going to happen, and his options were to fight about it and get divorced or not fight about it and get divorced. But to me it sounded like he resigned himself to the fact that he was going to be getting divorced. Um that's how I read it, based purely on, like, again, her story and the way she described how he acted. He sounds like he completely shut down in the wake of the news that she wanted to leave him, which is not something you do if you low key wanted to leave her. You know what I mean? Like, that's my view of that. If he wanted to leave her anyway, he'd have been like, oh, cool, all right, let's get it done, and then he wouldn't even come home with her. He'd have been gone. He'd have been at a friend's house that night, and then out at the bar or whatever. And then when she went to work, he'd have come over and started grabbing stuff, got everything organized. But the fact that he went home with her and just kind of sat there and slept on the couch, to me, means that he genuinely didn't see that coming. At least not the way that it happened, and wasn't a fan.
So how did he get all the stuff like finalized so quick, I guess?
What do you mean? You call and say, I want an apartment, and they say, okay.
Yeah, as long as you have a good credit score
Yeah.
and some cash, you could do it. I guess good friends, maybe well off to do all of that stuff. If you set your mind and money to it, you can do a lot of things quickly.
When I moved,
I think he must be. I just think he was content with what happened. He's just like, what's the point of fighting you if you made your decision? I'm not
yeah,
feeling it
well,
either.
resigned.
And
Yeah, I
then
don't know.
You ever thought maybe he was
restart.
just tired of her shit?
Crossed my mind, Jose, but I'll be honest with you. I have to assume if he was, quote unquote, tired of her shit, then he would have probably broken it off himself. What? There's no benefit to him waiting for
Well,
her
there's
to
a
break
no,
it
no,
off.
no, no. There, you always obviously had a contingency plan on the scapegoat, so he was like tired of his thing. What I meant by tired of shit, this bitch obviously didn't want to break it off. She was looking for him to fight for one more go around. Like, so this is not the first time she pulled this shit. So what I meant by
I
tired of
mean,
shit,
yeah, that's all rank speculation. So
that's
maybe.
not rank. When this bitch was going, not getting what she wanted out of the relationship, and this bitch thought like, hey, let me take this a step further, and now let him see that I'm playing ball. So I'm gonna have a guy, a therapist in the middle, man, be agreeing with me the shit. Difference is
Therapist didn't agree with her.
he
Didn't therapist
pretty
didn't say anything.
the therapist
Therapist
is
said, "Would
there
you
to
like to
be
start?" And then she said,
okay,
"I want a
right.
divorce."
The
Then he
therapist
asked the other person if he had a response, and his response was, "Okay, let's finalize details." The therapist
The
had
point,
no say in this.
Ryan, the point of the matter, you're using the therapist as a pawn, as like
Not
like
a
he
pawn.
wasn't, the motherfucker wasn't planning to come there. That's why he was like, what's this about this meeting? Obviously, she's using the therapist
The
as a
therapist,
fucking gun ho and saying, hey,
okay,
I
the
mean
ther
business.
so the therapist was one. She said a marriage counselor, so very factually had seen both of them already. This was not him going to his first therapy session and getting a divorce. They were
Correct.
working together. That's what they're a marriage counselor. Two, it was probably because I mean, if you're taking her at her word, it's because she wanted it not to be a sit just her and him in a room when she
Why?
said that. What do you mean why? Because it's really
We
bad
don't know if he
news.
was abusive or not. We don't know the
I mean,
reason she
again,
we
that's
Obviously,
don't know we don't know the
that's not
reason
true.
why she wanted to end the relationship. So like to pinpoint it on her or him, like we don't know the details. It does not matter.
right, correct.
The
And that's my point
I
is
think he was just happy to let it go and
Yeah, he's
on to the
abusive.
next
Yeah,
one.
yeah, you're right. He's a
I
abusive
didn't
guy.
get that vibe at all.
I'm just gonna
Oh yeah, I
fucking
think
go
he was
back
like, you
home.
know what? No more stress. I'm free. You're
I
free.
mean, it sounds to me like he went like quasi comatose for 48 hours. That's
A
not what
lot
you
of
do
guys
when you're
just are want to
free.
be quiet too. Like
Well, yeah,
some
when
people
they're
could tell the
sad,
difference.
yeah,
I
when
don't
they're
think he was
upset.
sad. I think he was.
I don't think he's sad. I think
I
he's
think
just
he was
over it.
ready to go. Yeah, he was over it.
Yeah, he was over it. He's playing video
I
games.
did not get that
When
vibe at
he
all.
can when listen, I'm sad and out and I'm depressed or some bullshit.
Hmm.
Do you think I want to be in the same fucking room as the girl that just dumped my ass?
You said
No.
if you're sad, so he was sad. That's what I'm saying.
But he stood home.
Well,
He
we don't
stood
know. We
there.
don't know
He
that.
literally
I mean,
No,
no,
he was
I
we
sleeping
don't
don't
in
know
the
think
that,
couch.
so.
but
He was
I
correct,
think
we
sleeping
he
on
was
don't
the
just
know.
ready
couch.
to. I think he was just ready to go. He was like, "Yeah, I don't
My
like
guess
this
is he
wedding
would have
either.
left.
So time to go."
I feel like he would have left
He
before
did
if that
leave.
was
He
the
just needed
case.
24 hours, and he got
Yeah.
his 24 hours
But
and
that's
But
what
left.
I'm
he
saying.
could have very
He
easily
could have
told her,
he could have
"We're
got a
getting a
hotel or
divorce"
some
as
shit.
well.
He could have bounced.
Hey, maybe it was a day before.
You ever realize that you
I
ever been
guess, yeah.
with
We'll
these
never know, right? Because it happened in
listen,
the order that it happened. But to me, it
homeboy
sounded like
is
he
tired.
was a little bit. Well, yeah, he did sound tired too. He sounded like he was tired. He sounded like he was hurt, and he sounded like, you know what? If
I don't
this
think
is
he
what
was
you
hurt.
want, if this is what you want, then this is what you want. I'm not gonna sit here and fight for something that you don't want. And so now maybe she didn't mean it. Maybe she had hoped that he would fight. But it sounds to me, based on the way he acted, if I was guessing what his thought process was, it was, all right, well, you've made up your mind, so F it. Let's get this done. I don't necessarily know that that means I secretly wanted this and I'm glad that it's over, or more of I'm tired of this fighting. If this is what you think we need to do to just be done with it, then that's what we'll do because I'm not here to fight you anymore. I'm not here to argue with you. I just want to get this over with. So I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think it was just a little bit more melancholy. I don't think he was like, woohoo, I'm a free boy. I think it was more of a, I'm not having this conversation with my now ex again. If she wants this, then this is what she wants. I'm not here to be a burden anymore. I'm just getting out of here. because
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. And I do think we're saying very similar things. I think we're just kind of describing the internal monologue slightly different. As far as her reaction, this to me drives me insane. A relationship is between two people. This is a marriage or otherwise, but certainly in a marriage, it is between two people. This guy was going to their marriage counseling. And yes, Allison, to your point, he could have been abusive. She didn't say he was. She seems like the person who might have shared that information if it was
Yeah, yeah,
pertinent.
right,
Wait,
yeah.
That's
hold on,
not.
hold on, hold on,
Hold on.
hold
No,
on.
no, no.
No,
Jose,
no,
let me
no, no,
finish.
no.
Okay,
You're not
y'all
gonna let you
didn't
finish.
even let me finish. So like
This
now you're just
abusive shit.
assuming I said he was abusive.
No, no,
I'm
no.
not
I
saying
wasn't
that he
assuming
was
that.
abusive.
I was just making like that is you're correct. We don't know that. And obviously that changes all of this, you know,
We do know
exceptionally.
that, Ryan, because obviously she wanted to work this relationship. You're in an abusive relationship, and he said, "Fine, you got everything you wanted.
No, I
Why the
know.
fuck,
But
if you're in an abusive relationship, want to stick with that?"
listen, I don't again, I personally don't think she was, but that's not my point. My point is yes, obviously we don't know the details of the relationship that led to the counseling in the first place and then eventually the divorce. But he was going to counseling with her. So that's a sign that
That bitch
at
is
one point
annoying.
at one point they had a conversation about fixing their marriage because they both agreed the marriage wasn't working. So now they're in the fixing process and you decide this is not helping. I think it's time to end this. The only, in my opinion, reasonable reaction to that is some version of what this guy did. Now, maybe you could be a tad bit more interested in the proceedings than he was, but the idea that he would take 24 hours to find a place to stay, that is perfectly reasonable. I don't think it would take me even half that time to find a place to stay. So, like, to me, she did ask for this. Now, if she didn't mean to ask for this, if she thought that this was something it wasn't, well, you live and you learn, right? You know, life is full of lessons, and this is one of them. But I think she was clearly in the video fishing for some sort of confirmation that he was doing something wrong, or he was already out the door, or whatever. She was fishing for a reason where she didn't blow up their marriage by saying, I want a divorce. And that's not doesn't seem to me to be the case. Sounds like he was there, he was doing what they wanted. When they had an emergency session, he showed up saying, "Okay, I'm at the session, like what's going on?" She said what she said and he said, "Okay." That's the best case scenario. From the therapist perspective, that's perfect, right? Okay, no one's yelling, no one's going to hurt anybody else. Everyone seems comfortable. Perfect. Good job. So I don't know. To me, it seems like she wanted something that she wasn't articulating by what she was doing, and I don't feel bad for her. I mean, she doesn't seem like she's all bent up about it either, so all for the best, maybe.
I feel bad for the husband.
I don't feel bad for either of them.
Husband seemed like he was a great guy.
We don't know anything about the. We don't know anything about the husband.
He was the money maker of the family.
We have no knowledge about that either.
Ryan, you could get your own apartment and get out the lease in 2 fucking seconds and not sweat
Well,
shit and play fucking PlayStation's underwear.
He did not get off the lease because he moved out. He got off the lease because he doesn't live there and he's not on the hook for the lease. The lease belongs to the person who lives there, which would be his ex-wife.
Woman said he got his name off the lease, found a new place. That's what
a
the woman said.
Those are 2 phone calls.
Well, he's not worried about where he's living. He's in his fucking PJs, fucking playing PlayStation right now.
Right.
Probably against me in Call of Duty.
So he made 2 phone calls in 24 hours. One to the current lease place saying, I'm moving out, me and my girlfriend or me and my wife are divorced. And then the other one to another location saying, I need a 1-bedroom or I need a studio or whatever. Again, we have very limited details as to what he actually did. So I would not go on to say,
maybe my man just needed some peace and he's got his peace now.
Maybe he just need a girl that knows what she wants and just stop fucking with the bullshit. There you go.
Again, we don't know nearly enough about either of them to say
how dramatic.
I looked up. I couldn't find anything.
How dramatic is this bitch? This bitch is like, hey, let me get a marriage counselor. I can get this divorce. And then when he gets it, Oh, that's not what I want. I just wanted him to
Well, she
fucking
had the marriage
stay.
counselor
They
before
have
the
the marriage
divorce.
counselor already. It's not
The
like he
marriage
got
counselor
it that
wasn't
get
day.
that. I
exclusively for a
get.
divorce. It was for
Yeah,
their
but
marriage.
my point, how dramatic she is. She could have just I told the guy, I just want a divorce. It seemed like he was a nice enough dude to be
But
like, sure,
we
why
don't
not?
know. She may have just been nervous about the whole process. She didn't want to chicken out. So by doing it in front of the therapist who already knew what her intention was,
Well, it's
she
just that
wouldn't be able to chicken out.
isn't it funny if you're if you're unsure about this fucking divorce, that maybe you should figure that out first. That this is what you want.
I won't lie to you, Jose. In terms of my personal view on this, I would agree. If
Thank
you're
you.
having second thoughts about getting a divorce to the
What she
point
does.
where you could be by yourself and just simply not ask, then I would say that warrants further inspection as to, well, why did I want the divorce before, but I'm afraid to ask now? Obviously, again, it could be because of who her husband is, but it could be because she's not sure. That being said, just because it's what I would do doesn't mean it's the only way to do it.
Can we
So
not agree
that's
it's
kind
not the
of my
husband?
point.
Why are we going like we don't know how the husband was playing video games. And if you fucking
I
if the
mean,
husband was just
in the
abused,
story. Well, I didn't.
if
No, we
this
didn't say
husband
abusive. Maybe the husband likes to
or
yell. Maybe the
whatever,
husband
okay,
shuts down.
whatever.
He would just run away and
This nigga was
not talk
yeah.
to her.
If he was any way a bad fucking dude, you would think A, they would spend the night in the same fucking house, or
No, but
B,
that's. I'm not
her
saying
being
it
like
like
fighting
he's a
for this.
bad dude who's dangerous, but like, what if he was like, I don't have to listen to this, or I don't have time for this, and then he left. So you're trying to have a conversation about the future or the dissolution, frankly, of your marriage, and he just leaves to go to a friend's house because he doesn't want to hear it. So now you've got nothing resolved. You know what I mean? Like it gets messier that way. By doing it with a third party, it holds her accountable and it makes sure that they have to talk about it. That's why you would do that. And I'm not saying that I would have done this decision. I wouldn't. I also think that if she was I think she was having second thoughts. I think she was worried about second thoughts, is why she wanted someone else there. And I think if you're worried about second thoughts, it means you should have those second thoughts and see why they're there. But I don't think that it's all automatically, oh, I want to make a big deal out of it. The therapist can't tell anybody. The therapist has got patient confidentiality. Not a single blessed person in the world is going to know about this conversation until she made a TikTok explaining what happened. So, like, it's not like, oh, I want this big thing. No, she told one other person besides her husband what she wanted. And she told them ahead of time, and to me that screams, I need someone to know what my plan is. So if I don't follow through, they can be like, what happened? Because that was not the plan that we discussed. Why did you change your mind, or what is going on? And I think that's why she told that person, the therapist, I mean, and it's why she wanted to do it with the therapist present.
Well, if you find out what happens, you let us know. And I'm saying that to everybody.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, the only other thing is, if you make content regarding that stuff, I guess she was looking for some validation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just
No, for
think some
sure.
things are
Well,
meant to
she's
be
definitely
private.
not getting that from us and the fresh and clean type people. You know what I mean?
We're not even talking about them.
But we talked about marriages. We talked about divorce. Let's round it out with some lust.
Oh.
And first lust, and then back to the wholesome dating. So two quiz. So we have Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi, right? We talked about him possibly being Bond.
Frankenstein.
Got a Golden Globe nod. Bro's on a tear, and he's in the highly anticipated Wuthering Heights that's coming out on Valentine's Day. Co-star Margot Robbie. I heard a lot of people excited for it. We will see if that makes the theater scene the way this is going. Just kidding. It will be there. But Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi will be in Wuthering Heights. Has anyone read the book or seen the movie? Like, I think one movie back in the 40s.
Yeah, I read the book in high school. Don't really ask me much about it because it was not one of the ones that I remember fondly. But I mean, it's one of those classics. Like it's for like a classic Gothic literature. So I suppose It kind of fits with
What
the
exactly
Frankenstein.
happens? Is Frankenstein is a version?
No, it's not Frankenstein.
What
It's the
happened?
same
Can you give
genre
us
as
like the?
Frankenstein.
Can you give us like a one paragraph synopsis? What happened
Yeah,
exactly?
there's like this again. There's this manor house with an enigmatic caretaker who has some sort of past with the female protagonist, and that past kind of collides with her present in tragic ways. Essentially, is probably the best way to describe that. Think almost a little bit Great Gatsby.
So Great Gatsby.
Great Gatsby and Frankenstein. Put those two
Great
together.
Gatsby meets Frankenstein.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein specifically, yes. Yeah,
I
I
don't
would
know
say
who's
that
Mary Shelley. Is that
she's
the?
Shelley is the one who actually wrote the original Frankenstein. She's the woman
Oh,
who
okay.
created Frankenstein
She
and
wrote
the
this.
monster.
Oh no, it's by Emily
This
Bronte.
is Bronte, which
Bronte.
is another again
And I guess
another gothic writer.
Kathy Earnshaw. That's what people would recognize. That's who Margot Robbie is. Jacob Elordi
Yep.
plays Heathcliff.
Heathcliff, yes, who's the main guy. But like I said,
Oh,
Heathcliff
jeez,
is
this
this
sounds boring
enigmatic.
as hell.
Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
ro- it's a gothic romance. Yeah.
I'll watch it though. I watch everything. It's actually a Warner Bros. Movie, ironically. It really is. But anyways, so Margot Robbie talking about her co-star, she came out and said while her and Jacob Elordi were shooting a scene, she had him quote weak at the knees. The moment, a romantic scene where Elordi's character lifts her with one arm and shields her face from the rain with the other. Robbie described how that simple gesture, the strength, the protection, triggered a visceral reaction. How
Yikes.
about that? I think Elordi's like 28 and she's 35. Good for you, Jacob. Good for you, Jacob.
He's very tall.
I think he's had a scene with Sydney Sweeney and a DeArmas, now Margot Robbie, and I like it. He's a great actor.
And what's his name? Barry Keoghan in Saltburn.
That too. So he's not afraid to be open, I guess.
That's
But
right. He's been
anyways,
everywhere.
yeah, man. I just wanted to share that. If you're able to impress Margot Robbie, that's he must be a special person.
Yeah,
Oh
I
man,
mean,
Timothy
In
Chalamet
character,
better
of
watch
course.
out.
Wait, what?
I don't think Chalamet is with Robbie ever, but maybe.
No,
Again,
I'm talking about Matt's favorite actor.
this is I'm confused about that, but whatever. In fact, Jose, we should watch that movie together. That
Marty
Marty.
Supreme.
Seriously,
I wouldn't watch it with you.
Watch it with me. Then we could go from there. Then we could really see that once and for all if this movie's shit or not.
Be a
I doubt it'll
Matt,
be
Matt.
shit.
It would
I
be
said
Matt and
worth
Jose.
shit. I'm saying.
Oh, worth shit. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be a Matt and Jose review. There we go.
Everybody wants to see that day after Christmas, Jose. We'll set it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, definitely. I'm down.
And you know, not for nothing. Again, I have not seen a movie hyped this much. Ever. Maybe this is on Oppenheimer. No, I shouldn't say that. But at least between the film community, it's really hyped. I don't know if other people care at all, but the way they're talking about it, it's an amazing movie. So that's all I want to see is amazing movies, amazing thrillers too. So
The
we will
thriller of
discuss
ping
that.
pong.
So we'll discuss that in a few weeks. But last but not least, we went from marriage to divorce to lust. Why don't we go to the old-fashioned dating? And as we head into 2025, a lovely lady named Dana set up the dating expectations for men in 2026. So she has here the expectations for 2025. It included being emotionally intelligent and consistent, being financially stable and ambitious, taking care of his health. I can't see what the damn thing is.
Probably appearance would be my guess. But
taking care of his health and appearance, gentle, respectful communication, has direction and long-term goals, makes time and real effort, loyal without question. That's pretty reasonable to ask, right?
Sure.
That should be second nature. So let's see what she says for 2026. And I'll play the music for the strike. But it's a very famous one. So number one, she changed. You have to have any job. Pay his own phone bill, can afford his own groceries, knows how to use deodorant. That's my kind of girl. Replies within 24 hours. Doesn't disappear for 3 days straight. Is not emotionally terrifying. Okay, that's what you have for 2026. He has to have any job, has to pay his own phone bill, can afford his own groceries, knows how to use deodorant, replies within 24 hours, doesn't disappear for 3 straight days, and is not emotionally terrifying. Haven't I low-key asked for this for forever here, especially the deodorant and hygiene part? This person's a genius.
Yeah,
this person's a genius.
That part is on brand. It does speak to how far
We've given up.
how far we've gone. How far ladies have gone in their quest for romance in the modern era. Obviously, I've never been fully on board with the "it's all the men's fault" nonsense, but I do see where she's coming from. That first list, while reasonable in theory, was a lofty goal in 2025. Like, you know what I mean? We did not
She's like,
meet.
simmer it down. Got to simmer it down.
Right. So as a society, we did not meet those expectations nearly at all. And frankly,
I still can't get over your tech when you just said it. I don't agree. It's everything's the man's fault.
Well, I don't. But I will say that my only worry is, as low as this list is in terms of how what's on it, and should be easy to complete. I worry because we're in one of the worst economies. The economy is so bad they just didn't tell us the jobs number this month. They're like, no,
you got to admit, man, that speaks volumes.
Has a job.
Even the Great Depression told us what was going on.
So has a job. That's looking like it might be harder than people realize in 2026. So we'll put that there. Everything has gone up in price because of the tariffs. So now it won't just be knows how to use deodorant. It'll be can afford a thing of deodorant, and that's an open question in 2026 at this point. So yeah, we're already running out of possible things that you could do to meet those goals. Emotionally terrifying, I don't know, but everyone's externally terrified, so I don't that could be very difficult to accomplish as well. So that's the real tragedy here is we lowered our standards quite a bit for 2026, and I don't have faith that we'll reach them. I think we might lose them still, and I don't know how much lower you go. I don't think you can, but maybe Allison or somebody else has a difference of opinion there.
The bar is in hell.
Well, the bar is in hell, but can you imagine not being able to fit under it? Or, you know what I mean? Or not being able to jump over it, rather. The bar is in hell, but you still can't get over it. That's what I'm worried we're about to see.
I'm sure you still can have many great men with those qualities who are just as good, if not better, than the perfect person that was the original rules.
Sure. I mean, yeah, obviously, as I'm mostly kidding, but I'm also not. And yes, I do think that these lists in general are somewhat silly. But I shouldn't say that. I don't know very many men with a list like that. I think that
know a lot of dudes who are on the second list.
No. I mean, I don't know a lot of men who make a list like that. Who sit down and say, let's come up with 7 things I need in a girl.
Goddamn, Ryan, you're fucking crazy.
You think all right, that's perfect. You guys have a list of this is the things that my girl needs to have?
No.
Yeah. Well, you guys, that's why you guys don't fucking get. Obviously, there's a list. There's got to be a checklist, especially when you're dating somebody.
No, it's just a vibe check. You got to pass the vibe check.
That's nice to have a vibe check, but I like my bitch to have a fucking job. That has nothing to do with fucking vibe.
I mean, obviously, if someone is like a deadbeat, you'll get the ick, and then the vibe won't pass, and then you move on.
It's like, of course, there's a fucking box check. Every guy has one. Come on now.
Well, no, but there's a difference between having a box that says, financially stable, and a box that
Well,
says,
that
I
bitch
need
has
this
a
person not to be
financially
a
stable
bum.
box.
No,
It's the same
yeah,
shit
I
to
saw
have a
that.
job. It's like if I go out with you, would you be like, homegirl, is she expecting me to pay every fucking day? Or is she at least willing to pass her credit card down? You
Well,
don't
so
have
let
to
me
pay.
ask. You have, there's a preference. There's a right answer to that.
Hmm.
See, to me, it's like, I don't know, if the vibe was right, the vibe was right.
Yeah, but you only
It's
can
one
run.
box. Do we vibe? Yes or
No,
no?
no. See, that does not work in the long run. You can
Wow.
vibe with that. You can vibe with that person on the first day and be like, you think you have an idea what this person is. 3 days later, they fucking don't call you again.
Well, no, it's not. You can't. All right, pass the vibe check. This is my wife. It's continual. It doesn't stop. You don't stop
Well,
doing
that's
it.
my point. But obviously, you are lucky, Gumby, where you can go fucking do that, have that chance. But when you're fucking dating and you're in the middle of New York City or West Bumble fucking online dating, that
Mm-hmm.
is not vibing. Is not a fucking question you ask. You should be already vibing before you get on the fucking date.
Yeah, but once you're on the date, if you stop vibing, that's your cue. It's no
Because
good.
you're not vibing because something's not checking off the
Yeah.
box.
Well, no. See, that's the bit. But you're adding an extra layer. Just be like, this is not for me.
I'm being generally like you're on online dating, you're conversating with this person, you're trying to get to know, you're trying to be funny. You might ask this bitch, do you know who your tribal chief leader is? And she
No,
kind of
yeah, I
a
know.
nice response to it. If you have a nice response, you're obviously vibing and she's feeling it, and you continue from there. But after
Okay,
that,
so if you're on a date
you
with somebody, right, and they say, I don't know, a neuroscientist, or they say, I am a sculptor,
okay.
right? Like she works
I'm a,
at a
s-
flea
I'm
market
a
with
sculptor.
selling sculptures, right? So those are two very different things. One is an artistic job that's really more of like a side project they're trying to get up off the ground. The other one is a very stable, very important job in society. To me, you can vibe with either of those two people.
It's
It-
homie. I
It's
can go
whoever's the
vibe.
best
I
looking
can
at
vibe with
that point.
I can vibe that with a person that works does the fries at McDonald's. That doesn't mean
right.
that what you do for a job doesn't matter. I mean, you have money
That's why
because
you just have
after
any job. That's why I agree with
Well, yeah,
Dana.
that's why the new one is
that,
just any job. No, I
yeah,
understand.
any job because I shit the freaking people out here are like working on computers. By next year, them shits are gone.
Yeah.
I gotta fucking
That's not true. I mean, that's not true, by the way. I agree with
well,
that. But
okay, but my point. So I gotta be prepared for like,
It is
hey,
crazy. Every single day, open my news app. I actually look at newspapers, believe it or not, get some ideas. It's always this Fortune 500 companies laid off this many people.
yeah.
That Fortune
right.
500 companies laid that. The school, this. Oh my goodness.
The bar is in hell and we're gonna trip on it. No, but I think that a lot of guys
Luckily, you don't need AI to make a drink or food
that's
for
right.
now.
At the moment we can still do that better than AI. But no, my point is I think a
Something
lot
on
of
the
guys
computer. I just love
a
Jose
lot
when you
yeah.
said computer. I love the computer. Just want to say that we're so nostalgic at this point. Not a laptop, not an iPad, not a MacBook Air. The computer. The computer. Anytime all my old relatives, God rest their soul,
He just called you
they
old,
mention
Jose.
the computer.
Sorry, he's right behind me, so I
I
don't give
know.
a
I'm using an old computer.
Oh
I don't want to
goodness.
jinx it, but
Yeah,
just
no.
anytime they say a computer,
I don't know. My point though is I think, and Allison, I would love to hear your sign off before we move to the next segment. I think that guys, maybe there's a version of a list for guys. Maybe my vibe check is just secretly a list masquerading as something else. But I do think that guys typically have a wider range of acceptable outcomes
okay.
than their female counterparts when it comes to who they're willing to date and who they're willing to sustain a relationship with. Um, Obviously, everybody has preferences. That's without
Right.
question. But I do think that it's a wider
You ever
range on one side than the other. And it's nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's just I do think that that's something that I've noticed, and this feels almost like this woman is bringing her list to where like a guy's list would be. And so I don't know. That's how I view that too. And again, obviously it's mostly done as a joke because everything is insane right now. We're reading a lot into it is very clearly meant to be funny content. But I feel like they took like a woman's very, very particular list about the perfect man and made it what a guy's list about who they'd be willing to take on a second date looks like. You know what I mean?
The whole concept of vibe doesn't make literally no sense at
Vibes
all.
are the best.
You want to know why? I'll give you a fucking point right here.
Sure.
You know, not to stereotype anybody. You know who's great at vibe tests? They're masters of it.
Who?
Big people. You want to know why?
Who?
You say big people?
Yes, big people. I said
B-I-G?
Yeah, big. I was trying to be nice, not calling fat people, but if you want
Well,
me to
whatever.
get rid
No,
of
I
that,
didn't hear you. I didn't understand
Jesus
you.
Christ.
So big
They're-
people pass the vibe check.
Even when
are-
Jose's being PC, it's got to be a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't hear what he said.
Because they're great at fucking. They're like a Swiss Army knife. They can do everything.
Yeah.
They're great at fucking vibing, but in long-term relationship, they never work unless
Why
they
is
meet
that?
you, Ryan. Because the vibe test is just one aspect. Once you get to the rest of when you start checking the other boxes, and they never ever complete all 9 boxes or whatever amount of boxes. There's always a missing box, and there's not against them. It's just there's always a stickler that finds out, fucking hones into that one box, and they always bitch. That's the reason why. Is it because they're big? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Whatever. But vibing, they always get that. Oh, you'll be a cool ass friend. Like, I'm down to chill with you, hang out with you, or I'm down to see you.
I mean, it sounds like what you're trying to say is that you don't find fat people attractive, which Jose, I can't lie to you. We knew that.
Well, I'm not saying. I mean, I mean, I don't mind them. They're great at Christmas time. They give great presents and shit. So I mean, there's pluses to them, but in the long run,
Like I said, it sounds like what you're mostly saying is that they actually would make a great partner because you vibe really well, but at the end of the day, they don't look the way you would like them to, and that you can't get past that, and that's fine. But that's very different than what I'm saying. Obviously, to me, if you look at somebody and say, "Wow, you're real cool," but I cannot imagine having a romantic relationship with you, then it'll be really, really hard to have a romantic relationship. Why? Because you literally cannot imagine it happening. Like, you know what I mean? That'd be like me walking on the moon. I can't imagine that happening. It's just not going to happen. But if you pass the vibe check, then that part's already taken care of. You've already said, I'd like this person. I find this person to be cool. I would definitely, I could see myself continuing to date this person, to take it to the next level with this person, physically or whatever. Like, the vibe is not just good hang.
Ryan.
Vibe is a specific vibe. You have to calibrate your vibe. That's the problem, Jose. We'll work on it.
Ryan, there's no calibrating necessary.
There's a calibration that you've not done.
I can vibe with anybody in public.
You've missed a calibration, Jose.
The problem is my boxes are not being checked.
Well, I know all about your box, but I'm saying, we'll get. Don't worry about it. We'll do the vibe.
Will that vibe though be long term?
We'll work on it. We'll calibrate it. I'm telling you, it'll work.
Vibing, I'll give you this, and I'll end it with this. Vibing is where it opens doors, but it never gives you the key.
Well, you know what? That's the calibration problem. We'll work on it.
You want to know what would be great?
Sure.
If men had big dicks. But you know what? You don't see me out here.
Some of them do.
Some do, but you don't see me out here complaining if it's not big. So, Jose, stop being mean to big people.
I love big people. I think they're amazing people. They're
just not good enough to date or love.
No, I have a preference. I'm sorry. I admit that.
I recently watched the John Candy doc. He was a
big man,
self-proclaimed big man, but that dude had aura.
Or did
Yeah.
he? Yeah, there's some girls. There's some. I'm not trying to say all big girls. I'm just saying in the compliment wise that big women or big guys, they're great at auras. They can fit in any way because they're great. Big
Well,
people
a lot
have
of that
big
is because they have to.
personalities.
They have to
Right,
also a lot of
right,
times
right.
because most people are like, big. I
Or
don't really want to be a
big,
part of
You
that.
yeah,
know
or
what my favorite?
they might
No,
be insecure physically, but in
Oh, for sure.
personality wise, they make it up for it.
we gotta move on after this, but you know what my favorite big person joke is from Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy, and he's playing the two fat people. He's like, and he says to his son, who's also big, "Listen, there's nothing wrong with being fat. I got a big ass. Your mama got a big ass." I don't know why. It's just so funny.
Well,
That's how they said they. So it's okay to have one. I got a big ass. Your mama got a big ass. This is by the same person telling himself. By the way, three different
it's no
characters.
it's no daddy daycare, but that's a good movie.
Anyways,
Uh,
um, so over the past weekend, we had the college football conference championships, which included the Big Ten championship. There is a guy named Fernando Mendoza who's getting a lot of hype this season. Was first the quarterback of Cal Berkeley, transfers to Indiana, and he leads this historic season to have them be undefeated all year long, defeat Ohio State, become the Big Ten champions, and they get a first-round bye into the college football playoff. Fernando Mendoza's a favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, college football's most prestigious award. He is expected to be the first quarterback drafted in this upcoming draft. And yeah, listen, I think he's a good pocket passer who's accurate with a great arm, and not mobile, but definitely has potential, and especially with the arm's sake. But guess what? Fernando Mendoza led Indiana to beat Ohio State. They got the big victory. They got the upset. I never heard Fernando Mendoza speak. I've not been critical per se on the college football shows. I just didn't think he was anything special. And I think if you beat Ohio State again, I think then you could be the special part. So is there potential for me too? I still think there's more to prove, if you will.
Mhm.
However, when I saw his viral post-game interview, I want this dude to go all the way. I want him to be a 5-time All-Pro player, goes to the Hall of Fame, Rookie of the Year when he leads New Orleans or Tennessee back to glory.
It won't be Tennessee.
That's what I want to
It could be
see.
New Orleans.
I mean, I don't know. There's reports that they're open to getting a quarterback, but we'll see.
What are they gonna do with Cam Ward? Tell you what, send Cam
Tell
Ward
him
to New
go
York.
away, like they did Anthony Richardson for Daniel Jones. Only this time it's worse because it's a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, tell Cam Ward to come to New York. Then we can make that work.
There are delusional people who want the Jets to trade up for him too, but again, that's
I think he'd be horrible on the Jets, but anyway.
Again, that's many months down the road to talk about that. But the viral post-game interview, though, when you see this, let me just play it. This dude he's got a heart of gold. I want him to succeed. This is him as soon as he won the Big Ten championship.
Oh, congratulations, Indiana, the Big Ten champs. How does that sound?
It sounds so beautiful. I want to give all the glory to God. We were never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God,
Him or Ryan?
great teammates.
That's Fernando Mendoza.
We were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go.
Flipping champions.
You guys call yourself a bunch of misfits who found the right home at Indiana. Why was this the right place for this group?
It's the right place. We're process-oriented. We're going day by day. Whether it's the offensive line, the defense, the coaches, special teams, we're all process-oriented to one goal. That's our thing, is we're brothers. We can drag teams into the deep end because we know that we're going to stick together and we're the strongest glue ever.
Tell me about finding Charlie Becker.
Strongest
third
glue
down, 2
ever.
minutes to go. We talk about Heisman moments, but take me through that one.
Man, what an incredible. Charlie's been He's been every single day in summer. We were always thrilled before practice, before at 7 a.m. on Sundays, doing spots, doing routes, and now you see it to come to fruition. He's my roommate. Couldn't be happy for such a young man as well as our defense playing lights out. And well, everybody just, what an incredible moment.
Congratulations. Enjoy it.
Thank you so much. God bless. Go Hoosiers.
How can you not want that guy to succeed? Flipping champions.
He was at Cal last year. A lot of people don't know that. So this is, it's not like he wasn't playing big four ball before, but yeah, no, he's right about the team. They definitely play like they play very united.
I thought you were gonna say all glory to God. I thought you were gonna say that. He was right about that.
Well, that's what he wanted to say. Most of these football players say all glory to God, for being honest. That's pretty common at these posts.
But he really means it.
Yeah, he does definitely. I mean, flipping champions makes me think that he might mean it more than some of them. Yeah, but
we are the glue. We are the best glued together.
Yeah, no, I mean,
he's such a sweetheart. Let's be real.
It is interesting, right?
I never said a football player was a sweetheart before.
Because
he's like even nicer than Tim Tebow.
Well, yeah, he's giving Tim Tebow, not in terms of athletic ability, but in terms of the way he speaks, right? But they've actually just announced the Heisman.
Hold on 1 second. Tim Tebow. Go back to Tim Tebow. This guy was in Florida where there were strippers and fucking prostitutes everywhere, and this nigga stayed in his room with his Bible and praying. There's no way how this dude is better than Tebow. Now, Ryan?
I think so, man. I think so.
Better? I didn't say better.
I heard that there's stories that they would get like all these girls on campus to flash him, and that's it.
Yeah,
he was so Christian.
Yeah.
Golly gee, ladies. So no, what I was gonna say is they've announced the 4 finalists for the Heisman. He is one of them, and when you look at them, especially who is probably the leading contender besides him. Saturday, while he was giving that interview after an unfathomable victory over Ohio State, the other main person, Diego Pavia, was at UFC whatever, complaining about something with his glasses, and he brought his own line with him or whatever. But it couldn't be more different. And they both give off a Heisman energy. But I don't know, with the way things have gone in 2025, it would be kind of nice if the nerdy, wholesome energy won just once. One time.
I would bet that's a lock right there, especially beating Ohio State.
I think so too, because on the field, I think had they not won that game, it would have been a little bit more of a question. But I do think that the Ohio State win probably solidifies it. But just, there's nothing wrong with being a Johnny football type, and that's clearly what Diego Pavia is going for. But I do like the idea of this one time, the guy who's just really happy to be playing football is a little bit of a nerd that he gets the Heisman. We're seeing. I mean, we watched a Notre Dame, an institution in football, destroy the sport literally yesterday when they threw a hissy fit about their bowl game. We'll talk about that in college football next week with Matt and I. But so something wholesome for the sport. He's the wholesome thing we need for the sport right now. Of college football specifically, not football writ large.
Fernando.
Yes, Fernando
There's
Mendoza.
Something in the air, the night, Fernando. But yeah, and by the way, he has always been this way. When he led Cal Berkeley to beat Stanford, Stanford was 3-8. They were 6-6 at the time. Well, let's see how he was a year ago as well.
At the start of the fourth quarter, what did it take to come back?
Hey, first of all, I want to give all the glory to God. That was amazing.
Same line.
It's a testament how tough we are as a team. I love my boys. It's amazing. I'm so proud of everyone's team. We're 6-6.
Right.
We're bowl bound, and we retain the axe. Go Bears forever. Let's go.
You are so emotional right now, Fernando, in this moment. What's bringing out these emotions for you?
We worked so hard. We worked so hard for this. I apologize for getting emotional, but it's so hard. As an offense, we've done everything that we possibly could have throughout the summer to being down, having a close game. This has to be the most special moment in my life today.
Look around at these fans in this moment. What will you remember most from this victory story today?
I remember going 98 yards, my boys. 98 yards. At that moment, we told them, this is why we did the camping trip. This is why we did every Saturday walkthrough. This is why we stayed late until 9 p.m. watching film together. And so that meant so much to me to go 98 yards against a defense that's been playing great. And we ended up scoring in the clutch.
Fernando, you told us yesterday you just want to hold that axe. So go hold that axe and enjoy this.
Thank you. Go Bears. Let's go.
Reckon this was a regular season rivalry game. I mean,
Rivalry
again,
game. I will give it. This was at least a rivalry game, the big rivalry for the two teams involved. But yeah,
yeah. How do you not want him to succeed?
Jose seems to not want to.
Do you not want him to succeed? Allison, what do you think about Fernando Mendoza?
What team Fernando plays for?
Now Indiana.
Fuck Indiana. Go ahead.
I agree with you, Allison. Very wholesome guy. All right. My last thing I want to share with you all. The Cheesecake Factory gets unnecessary hate. I've defended the Cheesecake Factory here. So it's time to hear from the other side.
Cheesecake Factory.
Ryan.
Except, yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
That is not correct. I said after you turn
You called
like
it tacky. You said
yes,
it's not
after
cool.
you turn
Come on.
17, it is
Fucking
no longer
Ryan.
an appropriate date spot.
Oh,
That's what I
geez.
said.
You know what? I'm taking
You know
my
what?
next date to the
That's fine, take
Cheesecake
her.
Factory. And we're going to get married.
No
Maybe,
bullshit.
maybe. Hey, listen. I get it, but I'm just saying. What's your what's there's a 2 certainly in front of your name or in front of your age?
Better yet, there's a 3 now.
Well, I'm saying once there's a 2, it's no longer a good date.
And I'll do it
spot.
in front of a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7,
Every
8,
year.
9, and then 10. Well, still at the end.
You hear this? You hear this?
100
Matt,
years old in
this
the
is
Cheesecake
why.
Factory.
This is why I think Ryan dating game would go to shit because
Why?
even my girl now thinks me taking her to fucking Cheesecake Factory is like a 5 fucking star fucking restaurant. That's
Does
how.
she not go to very many restaurants?
I guess not. I took her to a nice restaurant, and she's like, "You could have just took me to Cheesecake Factory, and I would have felt the same." And I'm like, "Bet, their cheesecake
There you
is
go.
banging." So Ryan, you're so fucking long. Oh my god, you better hope your wife don't take you to a marriage counselor and divorce your ass.
No, I'm not. I stand firm. And you know what? If you feel the same way at a nice restaurant as you do the Cheesecake Factory, then so be it. The date's simply going to cost me more. But I stand by that.
Fuck this. You know what we're gonna do this weekend? Just because you say that, I'm gonna tell her I'm gonna take her to a nice date to get dressed up. Because you know where we're going? To the fucking Cheesecake Factory. Just because of
And
Ryan.
with that, here's somebody from behind the scenes explaining what's going on at this amazing establishment that clearly some of us appreciate and some of us do not.
Yeah,
That's right.
fucking Ryan.
The life of a cook at the Cheesecake Factory.
So what's it like to work at the Cheesecake Factory as a line cook? Well, let's break it down for you. I worked for the Cheesecake Factory for about 6 years as a lead cook trainer. What that meant was basically my job was to go around to different states and cities to train up new cooks so they could take over when the restaurant actually opened. Now, if you're a cook looking to start out your career in a chain restaurant, the Cheesecake Factory is actually one of the top places I would recommend. And I might be biased, but I liked it a lot. Now, a lot of people aren't going to believe me, especially
Hold up. How many actual restaurant workers actually say they like their restaurant they work at?
Not many, so that's impressive.
those in the industry, but everything from the Cheesecake Factory is made fresh every week.
Oh, heard that? Fresh.
Wow, Ryan.
What part?
Except for
okay,
one thing,
sorry.
and that
Except
is
for
the actual
what?
cheesecakes themselves. The cheesecakes are made in Calabasas, California,
And they get sent
then
out
flash
to-
frozen and
yeah.
shipped to every location nationwide. That being said, their menu's a book. There's typically anywhere between 110 and 130 dishes on, depending on the season. There's 140 sauces. There's over 50 or 60 employees working every single weekend night. It's crazy. That's not an exaggeration. The operation should not work, but it does. They pay their cooks very well. The servers make a lot of money, and it's worth it if you're willing to grind. When I say everything's fresh, I really do mean that there are no sauces pre-made, nothing is pre-cut, everything is handmade in-house. Now, it's not saying they're making every single thing every single day. You know, you might have a teriyaki sauce or a balsamic reduction that lasts anywhere from 4 to 7 days as a shelf life. Whereas your prep cook cutting hanger steak in the back, that's going to have about a day shelf life. Making burgers, day shelf life. So there are things made daily, but everything is made from scratch in that kitchen. There's 10 prep cooks. There's 20 line cooks. There's 30 to 40 servers on some bigger locations. They will clear a couple $1 million in a week. Easy. But if you have more questions about the Cheesecake Factory or other restaurants I've worked at, drop a comment.
Who would have thought a affordable restaurant that has a beautiful look, that has fresh food every day, that's employing hundreds of people a day, that is putting smiles on people's faces? To that one. Shouts to the Cheesecake Factory.
Shouts out.
I mean, the only thing you said, Matt, that I disagree with is the look, if we're being honest.
You don't think that's a nice look? You don't think it has a nice aesthetic?
That's the entirety of my... That's the entirety of my point,
about?
if we're being honest.
I look at this looks like shit. That's what you
Not
think.
like shit. That's where the tacky comes from. But anyway,
what? I mean, it's just beige colors and high ceilings.
Yeah, it's exactly.
What's wrong with that?
I just don't like it. It
So
doesn't
when you go into a diner, you're like, yeah, this is where it's supposed. This is what America is.
No, the diner is a separate deal.
Or tell us some restaurants that are doing it right in Europe.
I don't know. There's there's this Italian restaurant near us called Il Porto. It's very cute. The atmosphere is very cozy. That's a good one. We could go down to the fish market further down the road, or even Mia's. If you're looking for something more modern,
these are all
modern.
behind. They are all. You see, they all are a step above the Cheesecake Factory because they're aesthetic.
Yeah, well, I mean, the food, of course, is also good and all that. Yeah, but
who knows? Yeah. It's probably not fresh.
I mean,
probably
I don't know.
Putting it in that microwave.
Well, so it's not a chain.
Maybe it needs some help, like Gordon Ramsay needs to come in and Kitchen Nightmares, but he doesn't have to at Cheesecake Factory.
Well, yeah, I would hope the Cheesecake Factory didn't need Kitchen Nightmares. They have a pretty big operation. It'd be crazy if nobody knew how to cook in there. But no, I don't have a problem with the food at Cheesecake Factory. My entire problem is, as a date night, it just, to me, the aesthetic is tacky. So
I'm confused because a lot of restaurants do look like the Cheesecake Factory.
I think a lot of restaurants are tacky. I mean, I'm not saying that it's the only tacky restaurant. This is you guys made, I think, a very generic comment.
Who else is in this? Who else is on the same level of the tacky restaurant as the Cheesecake Factory, in your opinion?
The same level?
Yes. Who else?
Who's on your team?
Bothers you? Olive. Fine, I'll give you that one.
Longhorn Steakhouse.
Longhorn Steakhouse. That's another good one.
That place is amazing.
No, it is good.
The food is phenomenal, but this is not a good date location because of the atmosphere.
What do you need? Do you need to have somebody to play the harp when you're there?
No, it just has to be. You know what I mean?
Red Robin,
right?
I like Red
Robin.
I'm gonna fuck it on the table.
No, it's not. It's a restaurant.
No, it's not. It's a restaurant.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
Ryan's bougie. Remember, Jose, so he wouldn't know.
Red Robin. Yeah, that's a huge.
Which one am I thinking?
Unlimited fries.
Unlimited steak fries. And
he said Sonic.
I think I might be thinking about
Robin.
Sonic. That's the one with the cars where you pull up, right?
Sonic.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
What are we doing? Cheesecake Factory is the bomb.
Or Red Lobster.
Red Lobster is kind of in that same general vote. Yeah.
Chili's.
Chili's, I would say, in terms of aesthetic, is below the Cheesecake Factory. That's not a date location at all. That's you go with your friends, you get some apps, you know what I mean? That's not a date location, I would say.
Most restaurants look the same anyway, so that's where you have to really stick out. Exactly, right? They are mostly
they are run by the same person, yeah.
They're all same groups.
Yeah, no, that's true. But they have different looks.
You can walk into a beautiful Italian restaurant.
That's right.
And then you realize that it's just Cheesecake Factory. Same setup, same colors. Literally a Cheesecake Factory that left a location and another restaurant that comes in. There's no difference then.
No, if you look like a Cheesecake Factory, I would say you look a little tacky, yes.
You know who didn't mind?
Or disagree. 100% disagree, in the words of Kareem.
You know who don't mind Cheesecake Factories and those type of restaurants? People that vibe. Big people. You know what I mean? they eat all day.
Oh, that's a good point. It's a good point.
Yum.
If you're down to vibe, it doesn't matter if you're
down to vibe and date night. They ain't gonna give a fuck if it's.
You're right. No, you're right. When you're right, Jose.
Yes.
A viber is ready to vibe even at a Cheesecake Factory.
Big ups to my big people out there listening.
I was talking about vibing, not just big people.
Rhythm
Okay.
is a dancer. Okay, let's do some questions of the day right now. I got some good ones for you. Question of the day number 1. Who falls in love faster, men or women? And why is it not even close?
Oh, that's easy, women.
Yeah, actually, I agree with that. I don't know about not even close. Depends on the person, but I do think that by and large, women are quicker to see a long-term outcome in a relationship than men. I think partly is on men for not looking quite as hard for a long-term outcome. So I don't think it's like a bad thing. I think it's a misalignment in what everybody's looking for, if we're being honest. But I do think that that's how it usually goes.
Okay.
Women are first to say, wants to say I love you when they don't even know what the fuck love means.
I mean, I don't know.
Who are you to say that they don't know what it means?
Yeah, that seems like you're assuming.
Okay.
You don't know what it means.
Because I know what it means.
Okay, so why you're just automatically smarter than women because you have a penis or something, or what?
No, I say they jump to conclusions. They rationalize that they think they're in love when they don't know when they're in love.
Men be tearing their ACLs, jumping to conclusions too. So
I'm not. I mean, I get your point,
That's
but
true.
men also are not the ones that come off and be like, "I love you" first, because they're always trying to overthink and rationalize it
I'm
before they make
positive
the
there
move.
are
With a
men
you're
who
woman.
right,
said I love
because
you
heaven
first.
forbid you actually share your emotions and how you're feeling and be
But we
open
are
and communicative.
as a man, men are typically the ones we are trained in society to be the one to ask you to marry you. Correct? Some cases, there's very few cases
Well,
where
yeah,
the woman
typically
asks
the
men.
man proposes
Not
to the
typically-
anymore
woman.
because you want princess treatment.
Okay,
So
hold
heaven
on.
forbid.
Let me finish.
You
We
don't.
are. I'm giving you a rational answer. I'm not even fucking around this time. Us men are born to be the chasers. We're the ones
born. Born's not the right word.
I mean,
but okay.
born. We were born into being the aggressors, the chasers. We're like the lion. We're the prime. Like we are.
Actually, women lion do most of the chasing.
Not in that. Okay, Ryan.
I'm just letting you. That's some National Geographic shit.
The point is, in today's society, men are typically the ones that are asking the girls out, typically asking the girls to dance, marriage, typically asking to be girlfriends, typically asking all that. We are.
Yeah,
But when we do
that's for
that,
sure.
we always make sure that we either A, has a chance, B, that we really like her to risk the chance, C, to give like we're fucking processing 10,000 different degrees in every angle.
Sure.
So when a girl and you're in a relationship, before a guy will say that I love you, a guy typically will say I love you is when they know for a fact that they are at least 95% sure. A girl will go by like feelings and like their intuition that, hey, I can see you in 10 years down the future with this one person. So that typically makes you fall. But when they don't know really half of what the person is, because you got the 3-month stage, the 4 months, like honeymoon stage, you think that's that person. But realistically, the person you're with now, you won't see the true selves until after like in 6 months range. So typically women fall in love about 3 to 4 months.
There are plenty guys who say I love you.
I'm not I'm not disagreeing with you. There's plenty of guys, but those are typically guys that don't have a number, like they're in the low range, don't typically antisocial or emotionally inadequate to dealing with their emotions, so they sprung real fast because they like that. Because it's
I don't know about that either.
Because if they're not confident in who they are and they don't got a number and shit, that dopamine of finally having that one girl is sky high. And that's gonna be there for a while.
Sure.
So that one too.
But there are people who have had significant experiences.
Correct. I mean,
who meet the person and then a few months in are like, that's what I mean. Like you're
totally right.
creating sort of a scientific explanation for something that is not, I don't believe, scientifically explainable.
I'm creating an average of a base of 95% men, this is typically men. You always have that 5% are the ones that are gonna say it first and blah 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 for whatever the fucking reasons are. You will get that. But 95% of the time, men are always gonna say less, and men typically kind of look for the girl to say it, come out with that, or come some explanation in them to be like, oh, they must be in love with me before they say it.
Again, I guess my quibble would be almost that when we have conversations like this, not just this one and not just
Mhm.
us, but people in general, when they have conversations like this, especially when it's a conversation, men and women, right? That's one of the everyone's favorite talking points right now. Um, we have a tendency to try and create these statistics or these percentages or these formulas to explain things that are not explainable in that manner. I
I would agree
don't
with
know
that.
that I would go with 95%. I think you can obviously say a lot of guys wait for the girl to say something because they don't want to be wrong and they don't want to be vulnerable first. And I think that that's a fairly common enough belief amongst people. But I don't know. I wouldn't ascribe any of number to any group of people. I think it's far more fluid, rather, far less rigid than conversations around gender often allow for. Partly because that's what we're doing is, making a declarative statement. But like I said, I think as a declarative statement, you're correct. It is typically women
And
before men.
by
But
the way, I will tell you, I am not the norm. I told my girl that I loved her first. So, I mean,
I will say my wife told me after I forget how long, it was a decent amount of time, that she was not going to say it first, and that I had to say it first, and at some point after that, I did. But that was several months in. No one had said it, and my wife was like, "I'm not saying it first." And I said, "Okay." And then another however many weeks, and finally we were wherever, and I said it. But so again, I think it's hard to have an exact sides to this, but I do think that oftentimes women,
Yeah, you'll be able to figure it out.
yeah.
So, my only other question is, what causes more chaos in relationships? Insecure men or delusional women?
Insecure men.
Insecure men.
More
how come
chaos.
I knew you guys were gonna say that dumb
Oh,
shit.
now hold on, Jose. Before you answer, because we know what your answer is going to be as of right now,
Hmm.
I want to make this appeal to you. I want to appeal to you as a scholar of the human condition. Okay,
Right.
let's just be real. Obviously, it's easy for men to sit there and say, "Nah, women are crazy." Okay, and I've dated plenty of women who I actually did find to be a little bit, you know. So anyway, the
Say it.
reality is when guys feel insecure, they do lash out. And that doesn't mean violently. I'm not saying they start beating on people, but you're feeling secure in your relationship. Suddenly, you're texting that girl that you met at the bar. You feel insecure about your relationship. Suddenly, you're getting quiet every time your girlfriend tries to initiate whatever. You're feeling insecure. Suddenly, you worry that everyone that she's talking to at work is secretly trying to get with you. Like, when a man gets insecure, there are far more variables that will end in chaos in the relationship. The woman being delusional, to use Matt's word, doesn't necessarily mean anything for the relationship other than a woman is more likely to say, "Well, I deserve better and I'm out." And frankly, I think half the time they probably do deserve better. But that's what that leads to
But
is
we're
the woman
also
make
when we are delusional, I feel like women are more likely to express that delusion and the thoughts that are going through their head. And I
right.
feel like men, when it comes to insecurities, they kind of internalize it because I mean society does sometimes tell you guys you need to internalize stuff and
Oh,
not talk about it.
100%. Yeah,
Um
100%.
so I just feel like that causes, like you said, more issues and kind of like a snowball effect versus
Right,
like
and
women.
that's why I'm appealing to Jose before he answers the way he wants to answer, to just think genuinely of the two sexes, men and women. When somebody is uncomfortable or not in their relationship, who is more likely to step outside of the relationship? Who is more likely to self-sabotage that relationship? And I think the answer is men. I don't think that you can say with a straight face, I think you're about to, but I don't think you could actually say with a straight face that the answer is not men.
I speak
Jose.
now. The answer is both parties. It's not just one.
Sure.
It's,
I mean, yes. Both have the yes.
so here's the problem: men are insecure. They're gonna assume you cheating because they have proof of or have seen DMs or figured DM comments and shit like that. Men's insecurities go by that. Women's delusional is like they're assuming you're doing something. They make up a story in their head. So how can you prove a story in their head is not true when not they're sticking to it?
See, men, I don't, you're making it sound like men find evidence
My point,
of
no.
infidelity. I
So
think there's
here's the
plenty of men who
I'm not
assume.
saying that. I'm not saying that. But the question was, men's insecurity runs on the fact that what they seen, heard, on what they seen online or what they heard. Correct.
Sure, something made them feel insecure. They heard that their girl was
Or
getting
somebody
close to
told them to
somebody.
feel insecure about something.
Right. Yes. No, I agree with that. Whereas, yes, I do think women will have an interior monologue that makes them feel some type of way. I mean, unrelated to dating, I know at least with my wife, and there's other people, some other people who are like this. She will make schedules in her head. Like when we know we have things going on, she will plan the day, and she will not share with anybody the schedule. But if we end up not following it to correctly, like she gets super like stressed. And obviously it's different because it's not about the relationship, but like I do think that that is oftentimes something that women will do is they will internalize a conversation and then their exterior life will reflect an interior thought, but nobody else was a part of the interior thought. Now I think to Allison's point, once this has happened, women are more likely to talk about why they did it, and it won't necessarily make full sense to the people who didn't hear the interior thought, but it will be an attempt to explain what they were thinking out loud. Whereas men, when they get insecure, they oftentimes skip that step. They oftentimes don't claim to be insecure. They don't want to be claim insecurity because that's something that men are not supposed to feel. And so they will just continue to do erratic behavior or whatever, step out of their relationship, be cold and distant, all those different things to hide
Why
the
do you think you do
insecurity.
that?
Why
You
do they do
step
that?
out
I don't know.
no. Why do you think you step out in a relationship? They're
With
insecure.
some people do. Some people do for, well, some people step out of the relationship because they feel insecure and they want evidence that they can, right? Evidence that they're, that they are still considered, desirable, evidence that they can still pull chicks, evidence that they can still, this, that, the other thing. I mean, that's common, frankly. Another, if you're insecure in your current relationship, you could start playing out in the field because you think your relationship's going to end and you don't want to be caught on the back foot and not have anybody to go to when that happens. So you start dating, you start, talking to people online. That's another reason why men would typically consider insecurity a reason to step out of the relationship. I don't think all men do. I think some men do the opposite. They feel insecure in their relationship and they get entirely devoted to the relationship in a way that's frankly unhealthy. They, love bombing and all that stuff is when like you just throw yourself into the relationship because you're worried you'll lose it. But I don't that's I think those are the reasons that I can think of off the top of my head anyway.
Very well then. And then the last thing I wanted to ask actually is I have it right here. Should talking to multiple people at once be normal in early dating, or is that disrespectful?
I
Early
think it's
dating?
normal.
Early dating, I don't think it's
Yeah, I
disrespectful
think
because
that's
you're
normal.
trying, that's what dating is. Like, you're
Mhm.
trying to talk to people, figure out who you mesh with, who you like have good vibes with, good whatever. And yeah, I think that's normal.
Yeah, I think the issue becomes when does early dating end? That's where people run into problems.
All right, tell me your nuclear opinions, everybody. Tell
Sure.
me tell me what you're feeling right now.
So you've all heard this, I'm sure. That I'm just asking questions. Like you've heard someone say that before, right? Usually a person in your family or maybe online. Ever notice that they're never asking a question when they say that? Like at no point in time is I'm just asking questions followed by a question or preceded by a question. It's always a declarative statement, usually one that's based in some nonsense. And I'm just saying we should just stop saying that. We should stop framing opinions as questions. Just be honest, own it. I think X. Don't be like, well, what about X? That's not a question. You clearly have an opinion that you wanted to share, and you're just afraid that everyone's gonna think your opinion is effed up. So that way you can be like, I didn't have an opinion. I'm just asking a question. But like, you did bring it up. So obviously you have that thought process. Like you do have that opinion, at least a little bit. So I don't know. Just I'm just asking questions. To me, it's overused. It's meant to protect bad ideas and bad takes. And just own your takes. We do it on this show. I've got that wrong most of the time. Like 80% of the time, I feel like. Just own that you're not asking a question, you have an opinion. And trying to hide your opinion as a question to avoid scrutiny is kind of, it's kind of soft, to be honest with you. Just take the scrutiny. I don't know. That's my nuclear opinion. I've been thinking about that. I saw someone tweet about it. The I'm just asking questions thing today, and I was like, you're not asking a question. You're just making a statement. But you put the words I'm just asking questions in there so people can't complain that you made a stupid statement. Anyway, yeah, there it is.
Sweet. My nuclear opinion is one universal attractive trait that a lot of people don't realize is the ability to make people laugh. That is the best thing you can do for somebody.
That's kind of similar to what Jose was talking about with the personality or the aura thing, the vibing.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Right. Welcome to the club.
Mm-hmm.
My nuclear opinion is if you're a trainer at the gym, you should not be making sexual comments at me as I am being your client.
I would go even further. If you're in a work environment, you really shouldn't be doing any flirting with your clients. I understand that it probably happens a ton, and this is just Ryan being an old man. But like, I don't know. It's your place of work.
You want to
Like,
know? I'm now all about just don't share personal stuff with coworkers at all. Just be a mystery.
No, but I'm saying like if you're a trainer
Oh,
and
I
you
know
have a
that. Yeah,
client,
I'm saying in general, and don't get me wrong, that's awful, and I'm very sorry that you have to experience that. But yeah,
yeah.
just be respectful wherever you are in any working environment.
And again, it's your client. Like this is your business. Why would you take that chance? That doesn't make sense to me. Why you would take a chance on losing money when you need the money. The money is how you pay all of your bills, right? So I don't know. To me, it's just very weird when people who are working with directly with clients attempt to turn clients into, lovers, for lack of a better word. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, if that to me feels a little bit like that thing I was talking about earlier. Somebody is just trying to see if they can, so they can say, yeah, I could do that. It just feels very silly. Don't do that. I agree, Allison.
Take us home, Jose.
I'm trying to think of one actually. I don't like people that think Cheesecake Factory is not a great restaurant. Ryan.
You see, we've already discussed the Cheesecake Factory, and I've already discussed why I'm right. But you can let me know in the comments
No, you're very much
your
wrong with
Yeah.
that, but
you can let
you
me
are
know your
entitled to
favorite
think you're
restaurant.
right, but it's just a
Yes.
wrong opinion.
You can let us know in the comments of this video what your favorite restaurant is and why it's not the Cheesecake Factory.
I'm sure more people like the Cheesecake Factory than dislike it.
I'd be
And
curious to
I
see
hope
the
you
numbers on that. At least we all hate Olive
Ryan.
Garden.
It's number like at a fast food restaurant, Cheesecake Factory is probably number one.
It's not really a fast food restaurant.
You get your meal in under like 30
That doesn't
minutes.
make it fast food.
I said fast food restaurant, meaning your quality. It's like there, like it's like when I go to fucking
fast
Peter
casual,
Luger,
I believe, is what that's called.
okay, Peter. If I go to Peter Luger, my meal ain't coming out for another 45 minutes because we gotta make sure my fucking steak for two is on point.
What's Peter Luger?
You don't know what Peter Luger is? It's the bougie of bougie. Try to get in there. I like to see.
It's officially also just Cheesecake Factory is considered a restaurant.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, no. Let us know your favorite. Let us know why it's not Cheesecake Factory.
Literally ranked in 2025, Fortune ranked Cheesecake Factory number 23 on their Fortune list of top 100 companies to work for, and
well, that doesn't mean
it's awesome.
The aesthetic's nice.
Well, yeah, you're the minority who thinks that, who sees a Cheesecake Factory and says this is ugly, but
it's just bland. Yeah,
bland, ugly, whatever.
Yeah,
I never really paid attention to the aesthetic too much. I just want my food to be good in a comfortable environment with great service.
I like the cheesecakes. Cheesecakes are great.
No, you can't like the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, I can, and I do.
No, you can't. You're not. You can't. You can't. You can't talk all this smack. Oh, they're actually the cheesecake's good.
I do not accept these rules. I like the cheesecakes. I just don't need to go to the restaurant.
No, you don't. It's over.
You gotta pick up a cheesecake.
You can't like
go on your bed.
It.
You gotta go on your. You gotta stick to your bed.
My bed has been made.
You made your bed and you're sticking to it.
That's right. My bed has been made.
And you cannot eat the Cheesecake Factory.
If you're 20 plus, you cannot take your date to the Cheesecake Factory, but the cheesecakes taste good.
Well, no.
That's my bed.
I was gonna say something.
You are creating a new bed, but that's not the bed that I'm in. My bed was the one I just said.
Nope, you're wrong. Anyways, thank you very much. We'll see you throughout the week with more productive conversations, content, and have a wonderful night, everybody. Peace.